Well, welcome everyone to this meeting of the Unionville Historic District and Properties Commission, Thursday, May 8th, 2025. We'll start by reviewing and approving the March 6th meeting minutes. Did you all have a chance to go through them?
Yes.
You can read them in 10 seconds. Thank you, Garrett. All right. Those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any additions or corrections to the
Motion.
minutes? Okay.
Let's sit down for the
Yeah.
second.
Hearing none.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
Good.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
we're noting who I motioned and Steve seconded.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. I moved a little too fast. Are there any nays? Any abstentions? No. Wonderful. Okay, the minutes are approved. Well, let's go on to the main order of our business this evening, and that is our fall 2025 oral history event, we're calling it. We're hoping Kelly has come up with a better name for it. Let's start by just reporting in on what we've all been looking for. We're kind of spreading our fingers out, trying to figure out if there are any local resources we could use or other organizations we could partner with. And I think, Matt, you were going to reach out to the Unionville Museum. Did you have a chance to do that?
I did. I talked to Patty. They are actually still working on an oral history project, which was kind of a revamp of what they did many years ago. They are focused predominantly on Unionville as well. Although they have reached out to a couple of folks that currently live in Farmington. Their criteria, based on what Patty told me, was folks that would be 70 and older. And that was when they started, though, a couple of years ago. Because I shared a couple of additional names with her and she was unsure. She said, "Oh, no, that they can't be 70." I said, "No, I'm certain they're 70 because they're my father and his friends." So
It's all
with
your
that,
perspective.
right. Their criteria when they started this a few years ago was 70 and older, and so focusing on those time periods and Unionville itself.
Very
She's
good.
more than willing to partner with us, and whichever direction we go to kind of make sure that avoid duplicative effort and kind of everybody come to the same end goal.
Oh, that's great to hear. I just want to report then in concert with what you just told us, Matt. I had an email conversation with Jerusha Neely, who's the Farmington Room Librarian at the Farmington Library. She's newly appointed. I think she's been in that position for 6 months, although she's been a reference librarian there for, I think, a number of years. But they are planning to, well, first of all, I emailed her because I found online on the Farmington Library website under the tab Communities, Local History, they had a number of interviews that were done just a few years ago online. You can read the transcriptions and you can also listen to the audio tapes. So I had this conversation with Jerusha via email, and she said that the Farmington Library plans to set up a collaborative oral history project using a platform they've already purchased called Their Story, THEIR Story, capital S. It's a Zoom style reference for capturing oral history. It will record and also tape somebody, not only the audio, but also visually. And then they plan to load these oral histories onto their own hosting platform, which in the case of the library is the library website. She is using the release forms and guidelines from a 2010 Farmington Library Oral History Project. And she is putting together, based on that material, putting together this project, which she has planned for the future. But she said if we would like to collaborate with the library, she would step up the timeline and we could get it going more quickly. So that was pretty exciting. So I just want to let you know about that. It's and perhaps we can encourage the Unionville Museum to come in with us as well. Anyway, there's a lot of opportunity there, I think. So I wanted to share that with you. And at any rate, they've got a whole bunch of material from the 2010 oral history project, release forms and guidelines and coordination material. So we can, if we only want to use that to develop our own program, we can use that material as well. So I'm going to meet with her next week and I'll let you know when. So if any of the rest of you would like to join me, absolutely, we can meet with her. All right. Anybody else talk to somebody about collaborating or any existing oral history projects out there? No? Okay. All right. All right, and I just want to share this with you, and then I want to hear from some other members. I did a quick summary of a book that I finished a couple of weeks ago on oral history, sort of the methods and techniques of how to carry that out, and I'll let you read that. It's not very long. I think I will say that the emphasis that I found surprising, and it sort of toned me down a little bit in the way I'm approaching this, is that doing oral history interviews takes a lot of prior work prior to the interview itself. And the author talks about having an intention for your interview, exactly what is it you want to learn about. And then you need to do research on the person you're going to interview, the time period you're going to be talking about, and anything else that you could gather so you could be very well prepared to develop a set of intelligent questions. So that was interesting to me. It made me rethink the idea that we'll have a room with 10 different interviews going on at one time. So that just made me rethink the whole process, and I wanted to share that with you. We can talk about that. Anyway, so let's see. We had I think Kelly, you were going to think about program title, a timeline, kind of a marketing for the program. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, and now I have different thoughts based on all this great information you just shared. Really, with Garrett talking to Patty and you talking, I missed the librarian's name, but talking to the library.
Yeah.
So what I found, I have a timeline that kind of backs us up with some, dates of just like in general of, how far in advance that, we need to do the planning. But what I'm thinking, Lisa, and I'd love to go to that meeting if I can make it work when you meet at the library. So because I live right here, and if I can make my schedule, I work from home most days, so I could perhaps be able to attend, just depending on what happens with my schedule. But I think what we would want to do, it sounds like they have a process in place, and so no need to reinvent the wheel. And we could leverage what they already do to promote it. So they'd probably put something in, their newsletter, and the same thing with the Unionville Museum, and we could just kind of coordinate it that way. I also, to your point about doing the research and understanding who we're going to interview, I like that. I like that thought. It was making me think, even when we were going back to the story of the Red House and the train conductor, and there's information there. But I'm curious if the library, if they have this set up, do they have something guided to help do this already? That's the other thing I'm wondering. Is there some sort of a program or something that we can, again, I'm using the word leverage, but so we don't recreate the wheel, because none of us are
Yeah,
myself. I'm not an
right,
official interviewer.
right,
Interviewer.
right. No, I don't think any of us
Yeah,
are. Yeah. Maybe Garrett, we don't know.
yeah.
No.
Hidden
No,
talents.
okay.
So, I mean, I have, a document that we could, talk about. A lot of it was, this was just a general guideline of saying we need to start this at least 8 weeks in advance, right? And I don't think that timeline does not sound crazy to me, but
Mhm.
I don't know if again, I'd love to hear her perspective on what
Yes,
it takes to get participants and that time frame, like what they've experienced. I know 2010, I mean, already that's 15 years ago, but it still gives us a baseline of
yes,
what happened during that time.
yeah.
And if they are doing things over the it sounded like you said it was like an internet application. Is that what it was?
It's
Just
a
use,
it's a program that they actually have purchased, so it's a software program.
okay,
I
software.
believe. Well, I'm
Okay,
just assuming. They purchased it. They haven't actually looked at it yet. But
okay,
and I can actually send you each the hang on just a second. Let me just find there's a website. Let me tell you about, so the website is www.theirstory, and that's THEIRSTORY.IO.
okay,
I haven't looked at their website yet, but I think that would probably explain
okay,
how it operates. Yes.
okay. So that would just, I don't, we haven't talked about timing, but again, just because if
Yeah.
I think just based off of what we did with our last tour, and we definitely need help with the promotional aspect to get the word out and
Yeah.
bring in other avenues. I think we could just come up with a mutually acceptable timeline to work with with
Yes.
these partners,
Yeah.
because we were
Yes.
talking about the fall, I think, anyway, but it's not like we're trying to have a pool party or something. So I
Right.
think we're flexible,
That's right. That's another time.
right? Right, yeah.
We do
Um,
that later.
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Um,
so it sounds like sitting down with the Jerusha, and that's
Jerusha. All right.
Jerusha.
Okay. Got it.
Neely is her last name, Neely. Sitting down, having a meeting with her and just talking through all these things
Yeah.
is a great
Yeah.
way to go. And I do agree with you. I think making up our own system apart from what's going on is a little crazy. I think collaborating here makes more sense.
Yeah. And it sounds like they already have
Absolutely.
an archival process, right? So
Right.
that checks another box. They
Yeah.
actually have a platform name, and we can talk to her about, can we customize it? But I mean, it's easy to make a project name off of their story, right?
Yes. Yes.
Telling their story, Voices of Unionville, or their story, Unionville's legacy. I mean, there's lots of options we could go
Yes.
with that, and not something we have to decide today. But
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't know. I'm really excited. Thank you, Lisa and Garrett, for those doing that legwork, because I think that makes it feels easier already.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
We don't have to create everything. I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's an enormous advantage for
Yep.
us. Um, I think the other thing I was very excited about was there's a web space already created for this
Mhm.
material, and it would be, through the library, which, let's face it, that's makes the material more accessible to
Yep.
many, many more people. And they've got the technology down very well. Um, so we had asked you, Garrett, for example, to look around for some web space. I don't know if you found anything. I think this makes a lot of sense working with the library, but did you find anything else?
No,
No.
sorry.
Okay. No,
It,
yeah. I don't think there's a lot out there. It's interesting. There's a Connecticut Collaborative for Oral History, and it's partly done through the Connecticut Humanities Council, and I haven't talked to anybody about that yet, but it doesn't have there's no web presence for it. So I think it's probably more of a project,
Mm-hmm.
not an event. It was more of a project, and it must come and go. At any rate, it's nice to have something that feels a little bit more solid. Um, all right, well then, Kelly, I haven't made a appointment with
Okay.
Jerusha yet. I will find out from you what works for you and we'll figure it out so we can go together. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I would really like to go also.
Great, great,
Absolutely. So I am not working, so I'll
great.
go
Oh,
with what
good,
the schedule is.
good.
Lisa,
I just saw.
I'm interested in it as well. I scanned the website while we were talking, and
Mhm.
it allows it's capturing the content. It'll do the transcriptions. It provides an editing platform, so we would still have to curate the content that's captured and
Yeah,
put it together as kind of a final package, and then allows you to export it out to share. So that's the piece that I was most concerned with, was that it wasn't tied to a subscription, that you
yes,
don't have the product, you don't have the content, but this does
yes,
allow you
yes.
to export that content.
That is fabulous. So I didn't realize that it actually also did transcriptions.
Yes.
That's huge. That's huge right there. Um, that's wonderful. Good. Smart, smart stuff. Um, excellent. So we'll use this, we'll sit down, we'll have this appointment. So I have Steve, are you interested in going to the meeting as well? Because I've got Matt, Barbara, and Kelly. We could just overwhelm the Farmington room with bodies.
I didn't catch, is there a date and time scheduled?
Not yet. I'm going to check around with people and get back. So it'll probably take a few days to figure that out. Do you
Okay.
want me to just let you know about the date when we find it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so you know, there is a Center for Oral History at University of Connecticut.
Oh, that's helpful to know. Hi, Anne.
Hi, I was watching as a spectator. I didn't
Okay.
realize I wasn't in.
Well,
I've been
thank
watching
you.
I'm like, why can't it let me talk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so say that again. Say that again.
There's a Center for Oral Histories at the University of Connecticut. The center was established in 1968 and began to expand in the late 70s. So they are trying to formalize public oral and community histories. You
Very
might have
Wow.
some good information on how to go about doing this.
That is good to know. Do you have, Anne, are you in a position to be able to kind of meet with someone and get more detailed information or?
Not really. I kind of work every day.
Yeah,
With
that's
some
hard.
flexibility, but not a lot.
Okay,
Um,
okay. Maybe we can,
I can give them a call or try to get in touch with them.
okay, that's
I'd be
really,
happy to do that. Yeah.
oh, that's terrific, good. Well, this could end up being huge, everybody. Okay,
well, yeah, and I mean, you could also hook up with the Connecticut State Library because I'm sure they have
Yeah.
those oral histories in the library, and this might be
Yes.
something you want to add to the state library also.
good idea, great idea. Yeah,
And as far as when we have an idea of who we will be interviewing, and the history surrounding, I mean, there are a lot of history books. There is a lot of information, I believe, in the Farmington room.
mhm.
The pictures at the museum, the online catalog, just the pictures give you an incredible idea of what the community was like. So during different time periods. So we certainly can delve into that also.
We're becoming limited though with the people because a lot of the people that have the knowledge are passing away.
That's
Mhm.
why we need to do this.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really interesting
Yeah.
you say that, Anne. When Jerusha
Yeah.
said this was a future project, I thought, ooh,
Yeah.
if we
Yeah.
have a 90-year-old, shouldn't we talk to them as soon as we can?
Well, I mean, I know one gentleman from Unionville that has so much information on Unionville is Tom Larson. And I know him personally. So, I mean, that is someone I can connect with because he knows so much about Unionville, having grown up here. He's in his late 80s.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
his memory is still, I
Oh,
hate to
yeah. Sharp
talk
as a
about it, but
tack.
yes.
Sharp as a tack.
Wow. Oh, what a gift. Um, Yes. Who was keeping track of the list of potential interviewees or interviewees? Was that you, Matt?
I wasn't necessarily keeping track, but I
Okay.
jotted names down and sent them after the last meeting. But I can certainly add that name to the list as well.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for that, Ann. Good.
Him and Patty LaBouthier are the two that I think of that
Yeah.
have the most knowledge.
Yeah, Patty's just amazing.
Mhm.
All right, so we will then talk to the Farmington Library. We'll um reach out and find out about the Center for Oral Histories at UConn. We should probably, somebody should probably just call the state library and just find out about oral histories there, but that's not an immediate concern, I don't think, right now. So at this point, we've got a definite direction for this. Is there anything else we need to chat about before we talk to the library? Reach out. Kelly, what do you?
No, I was just thinking about the outreach, but that could be a question for them. I know we're keeping a short list already of
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah,
So
you're
I know,
thinking of how to allow people to connect with us?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, like how we get the word out, because I think this is something, it would be a good problem to have too many people, so to speak. I mean, if we had 50, wouldn't that be crazy fun? But we're not going to get
Yeah.
50 anyway. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we should be nervous about trying to get too many, but I don't know. That's why I think talking to Jerusha will really help.
Yes,
And
Yeah.
Steve, the new exhibits coming up at the Unionville Library, is it possible? I mean, there might be some people coming to present there on the old bars and taverns and whatnot that would have some knowledge of some of the homes.
That's a great
That's what
idea.
we could, yeah.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
At the museum. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yeah.
I would imagine you're going to that opening
I'd
exhibit.
like to, yeah.
Yes. And I'm going to be helping set up tomorrow.
Well, maybe you can be
in
our
the rain.
spy and get some names of people.
Well,
Just sneak around and write
Yeah.
people's names down. Make sure they wear
Oh.
name tags.
So there's a summer town newsletter that, I mean, it's quarterly. So there's winter, spring, summer, fall. If we wanted to put something short in the summer newsletter, which I think is late June, early July. So I just need something within the next month to submit to the town manager's office. Of just saying, are you interested in sharing stories about Farmington or Unionville? Contacts. I can either use my email or I can talk to our IT department about setting up a Unionville Historic District Commission email. Saying, contact this email to receive more information when it becomes available or something like that. Because I don't know if we'll have something ready in the next month, but we can start like a list almost.
Yeah,
Right,
okay,
yeah.
that's really helpful, Garrett. Thank you. And the fall newsletter, when would we need to provide
So
something then?
it's usually, problem is I usually don't know until like 2 weeks prior to the deadline. But it's really around September, I think.
Yeah, because it usually goes out the beginning of October.
Yeah, we
just-
do
just ahead of
Okay,
March, July, September, and January, I think are the
okay, all right.
so. But again, it doesn't have to be done right before. As soon as we have something.
Yes.
But I have to keep a running list for other commissions as well for newsletter articles. So
Okay,
it just
okay.
goes on the list, and then when I get the email looking for articles, I just submit it.
Yeah, I think if we have something solid that we can define at the June meeting, I would say yes, we can go ahead with the summer newsletter, but I wouldn't want to put anything in until we have a solid
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
program, because
it was more of
wanna be
a,
able to answer questions, yeah.
if you want to be notified. But I think it's probably best once you have something more concrete of saying of timeframes or
So I think we
specific
need a
areas or
date.
something like that.
Yes, yes.
And then
yeah.
saying, contact, because I'm assuming based on what you found, Lisa, we're not really gonna be doing a one day event at the library. It might be that it's individual
Right.
interviews. And then maybe there's a single event to kind of showcase them.
Yes.
At the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
we-
right.
So-
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I
When,
think having that and then having people have a point of contact to go through, so that way then you can coordinate interviewing and things like that.
Mhm.
Once you have some people that are interested outside of the people that you can already think of.
Just a point, just a technical point. So this Unionville Historic District email that can be set up, could that be used as a contact for people
Yes.
to? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
I just have to
That's
check with
great.
our IT department. I would probably not do the full name. It may be Unionville Historic or UHC or something like that. Just
Yeah.
simple, so it's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
And it would just go to my inbox as it's more of it's a separate email inbox, and that way, it doesn't get lost in my emails.
Yeah, that's great. Boy,
Uh,
that would be great. Mhm.
when we did the Lovely Street walk, we had several people from out of state who grew up here and have connections to to Unionville. And they got the information from all the publicity that the town puts out. So I'm wondering if
Hmm.
could we put in something even into the God, I always forget what it's called, what's happening in Farmington or whatever, the newsletters that we put out. Just put a little blurb saying we're looking for people who grew up in Unionville. It has actually a farther reach than you realize. I mean, people came down from Massachusetts.
Mhm.
I think we may have had someone from New York. I mean, they actually do look at that stuff. And
Yeah.
that way we may be able to reach
Yeah.
other people who grew up here, whose families lived in the historic homes. They're no longer here. So
Right. That's excellent, Barbara. You're right. You're
Matt?
absolutely right.
Matt, could you put something on the town website?
We could talk to
Yeah, for something like this, it might not necessarily be the town website. It would be
Explore Farmington.
Explore Farmington, something like that. And again, that's saying if you're interested in participating, contact. I'm assuming that the program the library has is probably something that also works like Zoom, so that someone can be remotely. It's not
Exactly.
they don't necessarily have to travel to the Farmington Library to participate.
Correct.
It would just be someone on one end is interviewing someone, they could just be farther away.
We'd
Well,
need
maybe
we
tech.
could use Google Meets.
Oh, you
Yeah,
mean like are you talking about a Zoom
The,
type of
the,
interview?
the platform the platform itself supports exactly what we're doing tonight, where you
Okay.
could be interviewing somebody and recording the conversation so that they do not need to be in the same room.
Mhm.
Oh,
Wow, that's
okay.
a big deal.
We'd
That's
need
a
tech
really big
support
deal.
though. Tech support.
Yeah.
You guys can all do this.
Yeah.
We already know you're perfectly good. You're on this.
No,
Zoom
not
tonight.
us. For the people that we're working with. I'm just imagining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But it may be that if we move ahead and work with the library, perhaps there's a library computer that could be used so that we could take away the individual quirks we all have in our technology as interviewers. I mean, so there's a way to work that out, I think.
Mhm.
That's really interesting. I didn't realize I should have realized as it's described as a Zoom-like.
Mm.
Zoom's now become an American word. Last word in the dictionary. Yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Huh.
Yeah,
So
and I
are you-
think you'll be surprised how many older people are familiar with Zoom and computers. They're in contact with their grandchildren
Yeah.
and they
No,
go to
no,
meetings.
No, I'm just thinking, I mean, we run webinars at work and there's always they can have technical issues. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
want someone who can easily walk them through. Oh, you don't have your audio, go here, that type of stuff. But I
Yes,
agree with you.
yes. Yeah, no, you're
and-
right about that, Kelly. That's right.
And we're going to have to also think about too, as we get down the path of time of day. And I know a lot of us have jobs, but if we're going to be depending on the age, I'm thinking like the 90-year-old person, nighttime probably isn't their best time of day. I don't mean to generalize, but that's just typical as we age, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So you need flexibility. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we'll just have to think about that because they'll, I think about, just the time of day that will work for them as well. But we can work through that,
I think so.
especially if it's on Zoom.
I wonder if there's an opportunity here, and I don't know how we go about this, finding a handful of volunteers who would go through training with us. So it's not just commissioners doing the interviews, although I know a number of us would like to do them and should do them, but having an additional band of people who are trained to do this and eager to do it would be great.
What
I
if
don't
you
know how
put-
you find volunteers any longer.
Why don't you
We'll add
put-
it to the Jerusha list. We'll ask her.
Yeah.
Because the library,
I would
I
also
mean-
suggest going through the senior center.
Mhm.
Not only
I
could you
think
find
that's-
people to interview, but you might be able to find people that are willing to do the interviewing.
The purpose, I think our whole purpose though behind partnering with the museum and the library. It seems as though both organizations already have this same project in mind.
Yeah.
So again, we could all work together and we'd be able to garner volunteers from those two organizations as well.
Yeah, good point, Matt. Yeah, collaboration, strength of collaboration. Excellent, good. Oh, I feel really good about this. Good. Is there anything else we need to consider before we head to the library to talk to them? Well, although I think this is an initial exploratory meeting. Let me ask you this question. So Jerusha said that they were considering this as a future project, but they would move it up if we were interested in starting sooner. How soon do you think we should start? And I'm thinking about the people we already have on our list, which maybe, so you were just mentioning someone who's 89. Yeah.
We could start this
Patty
summer.
LaBouche.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think once we get more of our ducks in a row, talk to the library, go through what kind of training we need, and maybe do a little research on, the years we're going to be discussing.
Yep.
And then
Yeah. Well, maybe we could even be, we would become as adept as we can be, but maybe we could even test the program, so to speak.
That's what I was thinking.
Every program should have a test, should have a period of testing. So maybe we could be the ones to do that. Yeah.
And the program's not required for us to, we could still do recordings. It'll allow for uploads. So the library having us having access to the program doesn't prevent us from doing the actual interviews or recording the actual interviews. But I think it goes back to the kind of the notes you have, Lisa, about we have to know what it is we're asking and what our purpose is. So getting that worked out, and if we don't have access to the program right away, we figure out a different way to record the interview at that point.
Okay.
I don't think it'd be difficult.
No.
That's fair. That's fair. Matt, since you've looked at the website, is there training for interviewers as part of this platform?
It's really just a platform. They're
It's
providing the tools.
capturing.
They're not,
Okay.
they're not necessarily providing the guidance.
Okay. So I think the second part of our interview or conversation with the Farmington librarian, it will be looking at the 2010 material to see because there are training materials in there, they've got release forms, they've got, it's the whole package right there. So it may be that if we wish to start sooner, we could use that material, but somehow maybe tie into this collaborative program as a test. I don't know, but there you go. Um, you know what I mean. Good. Well, this is exciting. Is there anything anybody else wants to talk about with the program or want to share or bring up or?
I saw there was an open house at the house on Lovely Street this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully someone will buy it and bring it back to its glory.
Yes, yes, it's been beautifully painted, the exterior. It's really wonderful. So did any of you go inside of the house?
I haven't. Steve, you've
I
been in there,
haven't.
right?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope to go through when there's an open house, so.
Yeah, yeah, you got to pay particular attention to the what is it? Chestnut, unpainted chestnut woodwork in the entryway, foyer, and the living room around the mantles. And there's one mantle in particular, and chestnut is really pretty rare now because of the blight that occurred in the 50s. It looks a lot like oak. But anyway, the tile surrounding one of the mantles, within one of the mantles, has this scene. It's kind of a fantasy scene, kind of out of Grimm's fairy tales, that has dragonflies and frogs and lily pads. And it's this
Wow.
20 some odd pieces of tile that kind of tell a story.
Oh,
Gorgeous, just gorgeous.
beautiful.
But very original throughout. The floor plan, the trim, even the bathroom, the big bathroom
Bathtub. I'm
upstairs.
looking at it right now.
big old bathtub with the pull plunger stoppers and the
Oh,
so
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have several open houses, and
Good,
it's,
good.
it's a seller's market right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
so yeah, try to get in there if you can.
So Garrett, I just want to ask a question. I always think about the worst possibilities. And if someone buys that house, it's right now it's zoned residential, correct?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's not changing. It's not going to become commercial. Someone already asked me that, and I said no. You're not changing the zone. It's staying residential.
Okay. Why do you say that? Because I mean, what keeps them from changing it to commercial?
It's a residential area. Changing it to commercial will be considered spot zoning, and that's
Okay.
essentially, I'll say, against the rules. I don't think it's explicitly said it's not allowed in the general statutes, but the case law has pretty much said that that's spot zoning and that would not be permitted.
I wonder if there'd be restrictions on, say someone wanted to chop it up into, say, 2 or 3 rental units.
Nope, it's not permitted in that zone either. It's only single family zoning.
Single family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had
and
someone
could that-
had called about adding an accessory dwelling unit in the attic, but that's the extent that you would have.
Yeah.
They're not having an actual 2 or 3 family. That's not permitted.
That's interesting. And would there be any way for a buyer or someone to kind of go through a process to allow
No,
rentals?
same reasoning. It's surrounded by the single family zone, so it's not going to be allowed to change.
Oh, that's a big relief. I did
Yeah.
not realize that, and that is a big relief. Those are my 2 greatest fears, actually.
Is that chopped up there? Because there are a lot of multifamily homes on Lovely Street in that area.
Right.
No,
And
it
some
was-
yeah, there
historic.
are
So-
further north, right?
Yeah, so closer to
Several.
Main Street.
Yeah.
It's zoned for multifamily. Now I gotta pull this up.
Yeah.
All right.
Got
so
Sherman.
there's
There you
Unionville
go.
Center. There's these homes along Main Street, but everything else is single family residential.
Yeah.
All the
That's
way up.
great.
There is
That's-
one on the corner of Sherman.
Well,
Yeah, that's just that would be considered So a lot of the 2 families
Yeah.
would be considered existing non-conforming. We can't
Yeah.
do anything about it. But if
Oh,
they fit the
okay, I
single
see.
family, that'd be it.
there are a couple of the large Queen Anne's.
Yeah.
I guess they're right near Sanford or Sherman.
Sherman. Yep.
And-
Yeah,
Yeah,
so those are
Sherman,
just- those are
and
just
they're
considered existing
definitely
non-conforming.
multifamily.
Right, but it's not allowed in the zone currently, so it'd be
Okay.
considered existing
Right.
non-conforming,
Okay.
but you
That's
can't add
great.
to it.
That's great.
Good.
Oh, so Main Street is not in the zone, is
No,
that
Main Street
correct?
is 2 families. They are permitted.
Okay.
And commercial is permitted as long as there's a zone change. Oh,
Yeah,
I was just
I mean,
thinking
you've
about
got,
the bank.
yeah,
Okay.
you've got the bank
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
a
Funeral
law
home.
office, and
Pediatric.
then the dentist's office.
We have the
everything.
bank,
So
we have a law firm,
Funeral
Right.
home.
several,
the
and
funeral
I think
home
there's
is
some
permitted.
doctors.
Yeah, the funeral home's permitted in a residential, I believe. I could be wrong.
okay.
The dentist is on, and then you've got Unionville Center.
Okay.
Is this map in the, on the maps on the website? You can go through, I've forgotten what it's called, but
Yeah, the GIS. Yeah, this is
the
just
GIS? Yeah, okay, great.
Oh.
Great.
So
Wonderful, thank you. That's, all
Okay.
right. No nightmares.
No, that's good. Yeah.
Good. I wonder if the rooms in the house have been professionally photographed. Does anybody, do you know that, Steve?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure.
Especially the bathrooms, which we know will be renovated.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wonder if that's
I imagine they would be photographed for the realtor, you know.
I mean, yeah, it's all online. I don't know if it's professional. They look good.
Oh,
I mean, the photos look,
are the bathrooms there as well?
yeah, yep, yeah,
They
that's
are?
right. I could see the tubs, yes.
Okay, good.
Well, one of them has the clawfoot. One of them's just a regular kind of,
Okay.
but yeah.
I mean, it's just a record of the building that the bathrooms are going to change. But let's photograph them, just put them in the record, document it. So, okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anything else with that house? Keep fingers crossed. I'm in a nice big family with lots of children there.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out. Keep your fingers crossed. Excellent. All right then.
We-
Well,
I put
what
the
I would
link in
do-
the chat, Lisa, if you want to grab it, you can look after. That's the Caldwell Banker link.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you. Hold on, let me just write that down. All right, so that's great with the oral history program. I think we're moving ahead. I think June's meeting, we'll have some decisions to make and some probably tasks ahead of us to kind of push this forward, but I think this is really wonderful. Great. Oh, and we talked about the house on Lovely Street. Great. Is there anything else that is on our list to talk about? Anything going on in town or
Just-
Garrett, can you keep us up?
The Farmington Historic District expansion got approved at the commission. It just goes to the
Great.
town council. We'll be accepting it Tuesday night and then setting the public hearing for June 10th.
Wonderful.
And that's the historic district, historical society properties at One Mountain Spring and the house up on the hill at 729 Farmington Avenue, which will be the new headquarters.
Yeah, that's great. Good. Very, very good. Terrific. All right. Nothing else on the plate. How did we do? Did we make an hour?
No, 45
No.
minutes.
We're gonna do 45 minutes though. Such a good group. Anything else anybody else wants to chat about or no? All set? All right, we'll conclude. Oh, I guess I need to have a motion to close the meeting, please.
I
Motion
make
to
a
adjourn.
motion, we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
I
Bye.
See you next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Or
Thanks.
next
Bye,
week.
everybody.